In Python, just like if you type 0 and you check the type of it, what is it going to tell you 0 is? 0 is an integer, right? It's one of the primitive data types that we have in Python. So if you check another type, and this time you check the type of an empty squared brackets, what is it going to tell you? It's going to tell you that this is a list, right? And so if you do this with curly braces, it's going to tell you that this is a what? A dictionary. What if you put something inside? It's now a set, right? We have all these kind of different data types. But what if we do it with, I'm going to come a little down. Okay, what if we check the type of, have you ever thought about this? Like checking the type of empty brackets like this? Okay, this is called a tuple. I know I've mentioned tuples in the past, and yeah, they are one of the complex data types in Python, and similar to list, like they are very similar. I'm gonna define what a tuple is or tuple. So what is a tuple, right? I told you it's like a Python list, which means it's a collection of ordered items. Each item has an index, right? We've talked about indexes a lot. They can also hold many data types. In fact, all data types can be put inside a tuple, right? And it allows duplicates. Unlike a set, you cannot have two items of the same kind inside a set. Well, it's it's kind of the opposite when it comes to tuples. You can have definitely two different types of an something, but it is kind of similar to set in some way because it is immutable. You can not change it. Once you set as a tuple, you cannot change it, which is an opposite of a list right here. So I don't want to confuse you. Just know that a tuple is an ordered collection of items which are immutable. They can hold any data type and they allow duplicates, right? A tuple can have duplicate values inside it. So it's perfectly fine to do something like, and you can go on and on. Just you can have duplicate values. That's all what I'm trying to say, okay? This will not throw an error. This is totally fine in tuples. Okay, now that we know what is a tuple and what kind of data it holds, actually I can say that I've even shown you how to create a tuple, but we can go over that one more time. Okay, to create a tuple, you can just type a set of brackets, and then whatever you put inside it, separated by commas, there you go. You have a tuple. So let's fill it. See, boy, true, one, two, and hey. Okay, we have a lot of different data types on this one. Now we can store this inside a variable and then call this tuple or something like that. You can make the variable name anything you want, okay? You don't have to name it a certain way. Name it however you please. Okay, this is one way to create a tuple, but interestingly, this is not the only way to create a tuple. Unlike lists, I know that you can do list comprehension and stuff, but it's too advanced, right? With tuples, you can create a tuple just by doing one, and then two, and then three, and then you can put any data type really. You can say true like this. Okay, now we type this without any parentheses around them, so we can put them inside a variable and say, hey, this is variable called hey. Yeah, so this hey variable, if we check the type of this hey variable, what do you know? We have a tuple. Let's check the type of it. So we can say type of hey. Right, we have a tuple. So that's another way to create a tuple, and it comes in handy in many cases, really. Okay, so now that we know how to create a tuple, but how about accessing values, specific values? Because I told you they are ordered, which means they have specific indexes. Each one have an index. So let's see how we can use these indexes to access specific items inside our tuple. All right, we have a tuple called hey. I know you've already guessed it. If you want to get a specific item by its index, it's, you know, your slice operation is the way to go. Index 1, we got 1, right? And index 2, which is number 1, yeah, right here, indexes start counting at 0. I've said this like 1,000 times. Okay? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way. If you want to get the first item, which I did right here, which is this one, I typed in 0. And now that I want to get a second item, I typed in 2. I typed in 1. And then if you want to get the third item, you're gonna type what? This third, you're gonna type what? You're gonna type 2. That's all, obvious, right? That's how to access specific values using slice operations. I won't go too far in slice operations because I've talked about them a lot in the past. So even though we can access them, we can't modify them like we do with lists. This item of at index 1, you can't do something like and reassign it or change it to something like anything. You cannot do this. But had it been we were working with a list, this is very fine, absolutely fine, because lists are mutable. Tuples are not mutable, okay? So you cannot add stuff, you cannot delete stuff, and then you cannot reassign stuff. If you create it, it's constant. That's it. Okay, now that we know all that, but still there are operations that can be carried out on tuples. Okay, you can concatenate stuff. Okay, you can say something like I will just use x and y. Okay, you can say something like x equals and then y equals. Okay, so you can concatenate them. So you can be like x plus y. I mean like z equals x plus y, and then if you print it out z, you're gonna see them, all of them combined. You can totally do this because you're just adding two tuples together instead of modifying one of them or the values inside them. No, you're not doing that. You're just not changing them, you are merging them together. This is doable. And then you can duplicate them. Okay, for example, you can say x, since we have a tuple called x, we can say x and then we say times 2. This will multiply it by 2. Okay, we have 1 2 3 1 2 3. If you see, we have just 1 2 3 times 1 here, but now that we multiply it by 2, we see it. That's also doable. We can also check if something exists, so we can say 2 in x. This should return a boolean value because x is our our thing. So we have true because there is 2 in x. This is our x, this is the 2, so there's 2. Okay, okay, even though we cannot modify them, but they still have methods, because methods are not just for deleting and updating. There are methods for counting stuff, and there are methods to return the position of something. For example, I'm telling you this because these are the only tuple methods that we're going to talk about in this video. Yeah, so there's a method that counts the existence or the occurrences of an item in a tuple. For example, I'm going to say x dot count. That's the count method, and it counts the existence of something. All right, so I'm going to say x dot count 2. Oh, I think we have 2 in x. It tells me that we have 2 inside of x. We can verify that here because we have 2 right here. These modifications does not apply because we didn't modify it. We just did something with it and we did not modify x. Okay, we can say a equals x times 2, which means we are multiplying x by 2 and then storing these values inside here, right? So if we do this, let's clear stuff up. Okay, come out. Okay, if we do this, now we have x times 2. We have all the list times 2, okay, inside A. So we can verify that by doing A. We have now we have two twos, right? Two twos, right? So we can do I don't know, A count, and then we will see how many times uh, 2 occurred inside this A list. Okay, we don't. It doesn't have to be 2. I'm just sticking to what we were working with. All right. Now this is done. Okay, and also we can check for an index. We can say a dot index. Okay, if you specify what you want to get index of. For example, I'm gonna say I want to get this the index of 3. The index of 3 is 0, 1, 2. All right, because these will be ignored because they are duplicated. Okay, but they are there, but the first occurrence of that object, of that item, of that element inside the tuple will be the index to be returned. Okay, so I'm gonna say the index of 3 is what I want, and it's at index 2. We can verify that 1 2 0 1 2, right? So that's that. If I say I want the index of 1, it'll be 0, because why? I told you there are the indexes will just return whichever one is the first. So yeah. Okay, there's also another cool trick. If you have a tuple, you can actually, unpack it, so to speak. We can say x equals 1. Okay, we have x equals 1, hello, false. So we can do something like a, okay, b, c equals, and then we set it to x. So now if we print A, we will see 1. We print B, we'll see hello. And if we print C, obviously, we'll see what? False. Alright, so that means Python took this A and assigned it to 1, took B and assigned it to hello, and took C and assigned it to false.